everyone. This is C.HR with Ariaunstewart. Today we have my guest, Connolly. So excited to have him here. I have seen so many amazing things, standout truck, everything. That's how I originally found you and your brand. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions today. Can you tell us, first of all, let's start with the standout truck. So that's your business. How did you come up with that idea?
Awesome. So I've been into marketing since I was 9 years old. Like literally, that's when I started my first business. I was able to retire my grandmother in 2 years from the marketing I did to get that business going. So my love for marketing and my love for business owners and entrepreneurship is what led me to Standout Truck. So I was running a small agency based on my book, Launch and Stand Out, and a mastermind group and a course. All of this stuff rolled into one under the same umbrella. And I ended up, because I was literally taking a break from business. Most people know me from my first business, which is Stinky Cakes. And I was 300 pounds, super unhealthy. So I took a break from business and ended up writing this book. So let me just explain that part first.
Yeah, go for it.
So once I wrote the book, because I'm one of Business West's 40 Under 40, Business West is the local business journal in Western Massachusetts. Once they heard what I was doing with the book and some of the kids I was working with over at Westover Job Corps, they wrote this 2.5-page article about me and what I was doing. So that ended up getting it was great. Yeah. That ended up getting a lot of colleges to ask me to come in to speak. From the speaking, people were asking me to do consulting work with them.
Yeah.
So from the consulting work I was doing, because I'm a systematic thinker, so those people were asking me the same questions. So I was like, well, if I create courses to answer these questions, it'll be way more efficient.
Yes.
It will save people money and it'll save me time.
Yes.
So that became launchandstandout.com.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So,
Nice.
And then in that, we have this mastermind course called the 100 Grand Plan, where I show people how to use simple ideas in marketing, just based on the book, to make their first 100,000. So in that mastermind group, there was a small group of people. Even though I was teaching them marketing and breaking it down, they were still asking me, like, Mike, can you do the marketing for me? So that's when I formed the agency. It was really for just that group of people.
And that was the agency as Standout?
Yeah, Launch and Standout Agency, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
So what happened with that, I started buying these screens, billboards and different screens all across the country. So I realized, I just made a mental note, okay, you know what, when I lose this 100 pounds, because that was my goal, when I lose this 100 pounds, I'm getting into this industry. So long story short, 2019, December, I stepped on the scale, I was 197, so I was like, about to buy my truck. Yeah. And I got the truck in March 2020, and but that's how Standout Truck started. It was just looking for more efficient ways to serve my marketing agency clients, and then it just became a thing.
There. Yeah. And the Standout Truck, well, thank you for taking us back to the beginning, because that makes more sense. But the Standout Truck, just for all our listeners, it is literally a truck, and it has the LED lights on 3 sides of it, and you're able to display your ad there. And I had gotten it as a gift for my boyfriend, for his brand, and it was, obviously, that. And that's how, we first met each other, and it was absolutely amazing. I know we did the cohort where you had a bunch of different businesses. 5 to 7, yeah. Yeah, that were on there, but it's really great. It gives you a lot of traction. It gets everybody on the streets to see your business. But one thing I feel like, just from talking to you and the time we talked before we even got on the podcast, that I think is really cool, is that you're not really, you're not driven by money. That's not the goal for you. Can you talk a little bit more about where your drive comes from?
Yeah, I'm just really passionate about, seeing entrepreneurs and business owners get customers. Yeah. So what happens is, if I do my job and I help the businesses that I serve get more customers or get more brand awareness, we generate revenue, right? So I don't worry about the generating revenue part. If I do my job, the revenue will come. It's kind of like most successful people are like that, though. The money is a marker. It's almost like my goal. Yeah, but it's almost like when you were a kid and you get 10 out of 10 in the spelling bee.
Yeah.
Right? And then your teacher gives you a sticker.
Yes.
The money is the sticker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to do the work to get the 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, then you generate the revenue. But like, I'm just more servant driven. Like I love helping people. Like I genuinely love helping people. So like, and that's one of the things that my clients love about me. Like when they come to me, whether they bought an hour, whether they jumped in a cohort where there's a 50-hour campaign or more, they know that like my goal is to help them reach their goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So they feel like they have a business partner in you.
Yeah. Well, and when you approach business that way, you go from having customers to having clients. So to me, a customer is someone that may buy from you 1-2 times. A client is someone that comes back consistently. So my goal is to always have clients, and if you're going to have clients, especially in the advertising space, you got to be willing to serve.
Yeah, and so the thing that's interesting about that is like, because this show is all about like human resources, community human resources, because that's what I do in my job, and I wanted to bring like those resources to the community and like share it in a different way. And what you're talking about, like with what drives you, I think it's interesting because from like an HR perspective, we have to, you might get like a merit increase, or some people like the title. Like some people work really hard to get that new title, but like people who work off of passion, that they're driven to do like what they do because of a greater purpose than the compensation, I feel like always do better at their jobs and always are happier. And like those are your best employees, because you could have someone who's only there for the money and one day they find a different way to make money, or they're like, I got a nice comfortable amount, I can come in here, do subpar work, collect the same check.
It's true.
So I feel like that's super important, to find something that you would do even if you didn't get paid to do it. I think very few of us get that opportunity to do stuff like that. Yeah. So when you're sitting down with somebody and you're like doing a consultation with them, how do you usually start? Like I know a lot of people say to start like with why you do it. Like how do you go about like understanding that person you're working with?
So I always want to know what their end goal is. So like for example, for you, if your goal is to have more subscribers for your YouTube channel, that's important, because we have to create a strategy to let people know about your YouTube channel, what it is that you do, and why they should subscribe, right? So if that campaign shares that message the right way, those people will be like, oh yeah, I need to understand that more. Let me subscribe to that. It's not like a magic formula. It's you can't. So, but now let's say your strategy was sales, but you told me your goal was to get more subscribers. So we got messages on it to drive people to sales. You're getting sales, but you would say, Mike, this stand-up truck doesn't work. It's because the goal that you had and the marketing message we put out didn't match. So that's why it's so important to understand the end goal. And then, like once I know that, like I said, I've been 30 years I've been into marketing. So like I know different things to say and ways to do and strategies to come up with to move people from, because this is what marketing really does. Marketing moves people to take an action.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Sales then takes over and closes the deal.
Yeah.
Right? So do me a favor, raise your hand. That's marketing. Right?
Oh yeah.
And the reason you did it without thinking about it was because I said, do me a favor. So most people want to help other people, so okay, I can do you a favor. Oh, that's it. And it was an easy favor.
Yes.
I didn't say do me a favor, give me $100. You didn't have to think about it. It was like do me a favor, raise my, and that's so good marketing. So like so we're talking about your channel in the marketing and say, hey, support. Maybe you go with the support angle because you in a community where people love to support. Yeah. And you say, hey, support me in my dream by subscribing.
Yes.
Right? Or if you have like specific messages that you're going to put out in the future, like, hey, if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe to catch episode 3 and 4 where we talk in depth about X, Y, and Z. Right? So like marketing does that. So that's what I love, sitting down, talking, figuring out what people want to do. And then we roll out the strategy. Listen, the strategy may suck.
But you gotta try, you gotta start somewhere.
So we go, okay, that one didn't work. Let's do this. Let's do this.
And constantly be learning from it.
And that's it.
I already got a million things in my head from what you were just saying. So the language of it, like, so I was watching a video recently. I'm doing like this women in leadership course, and something that we're talking about is like telling your story. So what I noticed when I go to your Facebook page is you have a list of like who you are. It starts with husband, dad, author, entrepreneur, marketer. And I thought that was interesting because it's like, you're obviously, it's a Facebook page, so it's like personal, but like you're also, every time I see something you post, it's a lot of business. But when I went and saw that list, I was like, I feel like that almost kind of brings the person in more, because it's like, it makes you more relatable.
Right.
So can you talk about like sharing, how you share personal stories and connections with people?
Yeah. So it's key. So if we understand, so as a CEO, like you have to look at where the people are in the stream of time. In the 80s, that wouldn't work. Because in the 80s, everything was like hidden. You didn't even know who the CEO of the company was. Like he was behind all these walls, right? So now in the social era, everything's social. So like it is what it is. Like people are gonna Google you anyway, right? So they'll be like, Mychal, who's the CEO of Standout? Who owns Standout Truck?
Easy to find.
Easy to find.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So like for me, so my personal, I have to explain my personal motto, and then it'll see why it works.
Okay.
So my personal motto is create dope stuff and stay sucker free.
I love it.
So that description, it lets people know at the gate what they're gonna get from me. So I'm a husband, so like I ain't coming in your DM. I ain't
Right. You
got
know
time
I'm
for
serious
that.
about the business.
You know what I mean? If I reach out, I'm reaching out on some business stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I love being a dad. So like that's what I am. I'm a marketer. I'm a hoop head. I used to have on there 4-hat motivator, which meant 4 is the 4 parts of the C-suite that I always teach, and then HAT stands for humble action taker. So those are the people that gravitate towards me the most, right? People that want to learn business and they're humble and they take action. Those people love me, right? Because like as much as I've accomplished in business, and I don't ever act like it means nothing. I mean, so what if I become the greatest business owner of all time, but my kids hate me,
right?
But I don't serve my community. Right? It's all about balance, I think. So like, long story short, yet again, I put that out there so people know what to expect.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. I'm like, oh, that kind of, especially, you know, as I'm coming in, like, about to do an interview, I'm like, oh, look at that. Like, you're just very straightforward about what's important to you. And then I was talking to you about it earlier, like, my dad would always say, like, bring the same energy that you would bring to work, and the way you get your money and all that as you do like to your family.
That's it.
You know, like don't work harder for everybody else. Don't work harder for the money. Like your home is where you gotta rest your head at night. That's your legacy. You know, your children are your legacy.
That's it.
So I think I absolutely love that you put that right out there on the
I am
table.
what I am.
And then I saw Venture X on there too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Venture X, man, like if someone's looking for a workspace or office space, co-work space to have like a seminar, a space to have like a conference room, office for the day, office for 2 weeks. Like, it's like amazing. It's like it's really cool. So Ned Borowski is the guy that owns the Venture X out in Holyoke, and Melissa Halleck works for him. Now Melissa used to work at Business West.
Okay.
So I knew her from there, and anytime I needed something from Business West, I would reach out to Melissa. And she shifted to Venture X. I was like, whoa, Melissa left Business West. What's this? So now I was already paying attention. So Melissa says to me, "Hey, come out, come check out the space." Not selling me because she knows I got a big mouth, so she knows if I get. But I love Melissa. That's my people. Melissa's dope. So I go out, I check out the space. I'm like, this is crazy. Cool. So at the end of the tour, Ned comes. He came in when I was done. It wasn't set up this way. But he starts talking about the space, and I was like, yeah, Ned, this is cool, but like, I don't really need an office space because like I work from home and I'm in the truck. Yeah. But whatever you guys got going on, like I want to be part of it. So that I moved my office into Venture X. But like it's amazing. But I got to learn, like I love learning about business, you know what I mean? So Ned has done so much more in business than me, so even just to like, his office he put his office mine directly across from his, she's like, you're coming next to me. So like he teaches me and all sorts of good stuff, but they have those Venture X locations in different parts of the country, so like wherever you are, just
Just Google
search
it, see
Venture
what's
X, and
close to you.
it's a great space. But if you're in Western Mass, make sure you go down to Venture X Holyoke. It's a great spot.
Awesome. Make sure you check it out. So when I was on your Facebook, I also saw you were talking to somebody. I don't know if it was somebody like you were mentoring or it was just like a quick conversation. And it was, I just caught it real quick. It was the person who braided your hair.
Oh yeah, she's 15.
Yes, 15. And then you were talking to her about her business.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm guessing she's 15. She probably doesn't work in like a salon yet.
But that's an end goal, yeah.
Yeah. But you said to her, like, how much would this hairstyle run somebody in like a regular salon? She was like, I don't know, like maybe $30. And then you were like, oh, well, you shouldn't. And like, I thought that was super important because I feel like sometimes people get into business or you have a skill that you don't know is worth paying for yet.
Yeah.
And then you have to, I mean, I'm kind of like in the middle of like building up my human resource like consulting business right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you kind of like fall into opportunities sometimes and then you're like, oh shoot, what should I charge? I don't know. Yeah. Like, what is my worth? I don't really, like in dollar value, I don't necessarily know yet. Yeah. So like, could you talk to us about like, just like expand on that process a little bit more?
Yeah. So she braided my hair, and before I got there, I asked her how much it was, and she said $15. And I was like in my head, there's no way I'm not paying.
I'm not paying $0.50. Right. That's not even right.
Right. But her thinking was, she's still learning how to do it, so she's going to get something. So what I told her was, I was like, okay, someone in this part you didn't see in the video. I said, if someone in the salon, what do they charge? And she didn't know. She wasn't sure. And then we was like, okay, let's say they charge $40.
Yep.
Right. So I said, but forget that part now. So on the scale up to 100%, what they do is 100%. Where you think you at? She said right now about 60%. So I said, all right, to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So if they're charging $100, you should be charging 60 because you had 60%.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, it's the value that you bring that matters. Like I told her, I said I would have paid you $200 because I can't do this. I don't have the skill set to do this.
Right.
I'm not paying I'm paying for your skill. You know what I mean? Let me, and then someone had just posted this, and I shared this with her. Let me just, I don't want to mess this quote up. I want to say it just how it was said.
Yeah, no problem.
So it says, my prices are based on my talent, not your budget.
Yes.
Right? So if you understand you're getting paid for your talent, your skill, the life work that you did, then that's, understand your value. But don't play yourself either. Don't be like, yo, I'm the ish. Like, stay humble. Remember?
Yes.
Humble action takers. And that's why, like, this little young kids, young people, they get it. Because they're not going to jump straight to ego. So when she said 60%, like, I was like, I thought she was going to say about 80, 90, right? Because it's great work.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, so I posted that, so like everybody in the city's seen it, but I've had so many people just in the past 24, 48 hours telling me how great a job that she did. Right? So when your work's remarkable, when your work's like this, so this is why I get paid to speak. Every time and I'm not being arrogant, this is an observation. Every time I talk about business, marketing, entrepreneurship, advertising, people pull out pens and write down. Right? So think about it. So if people are writing down what you say, that means it's valuable.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. That means you should get paid for it. So if you want to be a public speaker, before you go saying, well, my rate is this, how many people are writing down what you're saying?
You gotta you gotta test it out first.
What's your value?
You gotta test it, and that's why, I mean, in her situation, that's awesome that she's 15. She can test it out right now.
Exactly.
And kind of like be kind of chill about it, and then be like, oh shoot, I can be getting.
So her goal, right? So I hope now. So I gave her a copy of my book, and I gave her access to my $100,000 plan.
That's awesome.
And I wouldn't even say that, even though I said that. I normally don't say that. But I did.
Yeah.
That's awesome. but not only because I know she's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right? I know she's gonna do it. It's not.
You could see that she was taking the conversation like serious. And
yeah. Well, not only that, she signed up for classes to improve her skills. That's someone that's committed to the work.
Yes.
You understand? Like,
at 15.
Success rewards the work.
At 15,
so her, what's going on? She's got. The wild part is if you saw the chair in the video, it's like a salon chair.
Oh, so she already like
she's
putting
there.
in the
She's there. So like we're in 2021, but she's in like 2028.
Yeah.
She's already there. She's not in her house. She's in her salon.
Yeah, no.
Right? And then if right?
Yeah.
And then so if she keeps and she's got no bills right now. This is why I tell young people start businesses early. So put your mastery hours in. Do the work, right?
Yes.
So her now 7-8 years from now, let's just say 10 years from now. And she was 15. She's been saving that money. She's now 25, right? She could right? She could, over with. Watch this. Yeah. She could find first of all, she could buy a salon for someone looking to retire.
Oh yeah.
One. Yeah. She could probably have a down payment to purchase a building, right? That she could and have money to renovate it.
Yeah.
Right. And then now she's got her salon, right? Angie's salon.
She probably do that without ever having to work for anybody ever.
And without ever having any kind of loans. Because she invested herself at 15. But like it's just so many ways to get to the bag, but you have to make a conscious decision to sacrifice who you are. When I say who you are, like what average people do. So the average 15-year-old, they're looking for a boyfriend, or they playing video games, or they on TikTok or whatever, talking about people. She's learning the skill. Yeah, they could feed her for the rest of her life.
Yep, and it's awesome because she's actually passionate about it.
She loves it.
Like doing hair.
She loves it.
And it's fun for her.
It was really cool seeing that.
That's awesome. Like even you make me think about my little sisters. My sisters are 13 and 14, and the 13-year-old sister, she's amazing at art, like crazy amazing at art, just naturally gifted. And I'm just like, you could go on Instagram and start selling some pictures. You can I'll show you how to make a sticker out of that. Yeah. You can start selling that. But she has the reservation. She's like, I don't want people to see my work. She's very hard on herself.
Can I tell you something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you something about that. It's going to blow your mind a little bit. So, like, that's because of programming. Like, we're programmed to become that.
Yes.
All the geniuses in the world are in kindergarten. That stops after kindergarten. So here's what I'm talking about. So now the teacher spends a whole month teaching addition. Right? So now you should know it. Teacher goes on the board, 2 + 2 = what? And like 97% of that room won't raise their hand if they don't know what the answer is.
Right.
And here's why. Because if I raise my hand and don't know that answer, what's going to happen?
You're embarrassed.
Everyone's laughing at me, right? And if I ask that teacher, well, teacher, 2 + 2, I don't know what that is. Mike, we've been discussing this for the past month. So now I'm embarrassed by the authority figure.
And now you're getting scolded
by the authority figure, right? So this programming. So now I'm programmed to even if I don't know, don't speak up. So here's the 3 people that would speak up, right? And no one would question. First of all, the smart girl. So the smart girl goes, right? Nobody. The smart girl goes, hey, teacher, what's 2 + 2? Everybody in the class is like, yo, even the smart girl don't know, right?
Yeah, to set the tone.
Yo, no one's gonna say nothing to her.
Yeah.
The other person that can speak up is the rebel. Yo, teacher, I don't know what you're talking about. What's this 2 + 2 thing?
Yeah.
No one's saying nothing to him because if you say something to him, he's probably gonna punch you in the mouth after class. Right?
Yeah.
And then the other person that could speak up is the standout kid. The person that's they got the wild hair. They're just different. They on their own. I'm talking like Andre 3000, just on his own vibe. Like, yo, what's up? What's the 2 + 2 thing again? And no one's that's Mike. He's no one's messing. So everybody else though, everybody else. If you're not one of those 3, you raise your hand. You don't know. Everyone's gonna laugh at you. So that's where your self-confidence starts to die. We're supposed to ask questions. We never supposed to stop. Like what I was telling Angie, like, yo, be the dumbest person in the room, and then ask the question. Because guess what?
Chances are.
But what? Yeah, right. Well, chances are other people have the same question. One, but the other thing is like, if you don't ask, you always don't know. So you'll stay being dumb.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask and they laugh at you, but you got the answer, you was dumb in the moment. But now you got the answers.
Yep.
Quote unquote dumb, right? I'll be dumb all day.
And not only that, but like just to be like really literal about the school part, like when you actually ask the question and you're saying it, like you could listen to the question get answered, but when you say it,
It's different.
and you hear it, just sticks in your head differently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, no, absolutely. So like and that's the thing with my sister, I was like, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there because I can guarantee you not a lot of kids can draw as good as you can draw.
That's it.
And,
but then and to add to that, right? First of all,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Mychal, closed mouths don't get fed. But the other thing too is that you create dope stuff, stay sucker free.
Yeah.
The suckers are always gonna crack on you.
Yeah.
They're insecure.
No matter
they
what.
don't know what to do. So put them in the sucker bucket, push them to the side. Share dope things with dope people. Yo, look at this dope thing. Yo, that's sick. How old are you? Oh my God. Those are for sale. Just take my money.
Yeah.
Worry about
So
that.
true.
Dope bucket. Dope bucket.
Yep.
Right? Sucker bucket. Don't even. Like if someone just something, and you know how they respond to your thing, right? So like, oh, you're a sucker. Oh, I know you don't like it. Okay, no worries. But you're not even taking that personal because you're like, that's a sucker. I'm on to the next, right? And that's what we got to teach the kids. We got to teach them like, bro, be dope, create dope stuff with dope people, stay sucker free.
And I feel like even if you're talking to somebody, they might not be like 100% on board with your idea, but I feel like the difference is the people who sit down with you and are like, okay. Like I'm with you almost, but what about like maybe like making little tweaks to it to help you grow?
Watch this. So watch this. That's someone in the dope bucket. So there's 3 types of people in the dope bucket, and there's also the same type of 3 people in the sucker bucket. We're not gonna talk about them today.
Okay.
So cold, warm, hot. Cold, warm, hot. So the people in the dope bucket that are hot from a business perspective, or even a support perspective, like they ready to buy right now. Like you got a purple pen, I like purple pens. Yo, let me buy that off you. That's your hot, right?
Yeah, ready to go.
The warm is like, I would buy it, but you need to convince me a little more. Like give me a little more information. Market to me a little more. On the 4th time you market to me, I'm gonna be convinced to get that
I need this.
that purple pen, right?
Yeah.
And then the coal, they don't use purple pens, but they know people and would tell people in the warm and hot about your purple pens. So they may never buy, but they gonna be, yo, oh my God, you like purple pens? She's got them right here. So that's, you know what I mean?
It's funny because I feel like I'm like that for my friends. Like no matter like who's in my community that's selling something, I'm like, even if I don't necessarily need it right now, I'm like, I'm supporting you. You know what I mean? Like no matter what,
I'll put someone on.
Yeah, like I'm gonna try it, and I know somebody who probably would like it.
Yeah.
And then with you got social media and the way marketing is now, I'm gonna share it.
That's it.
Put it out there to the world.
But like the suckers would never do. It's the opposite. I know I wasn't gonna talk about. I gotta explain the yin and yang. So cold, warm, hot. When it comes to the suckers, hot are people like going out their way to tell people don't buy your purple pens. There's people like that.
To poison people against you,
And they have influence, right?
Yep.
The crazy part though, like a lot of their friends know they suckers, so they might hear and they actually could end up being they could do marketing for you because people are like you be hating on everything. Let me go check out.
Yeah, exactly. That free promo.
Right, and then the warm there, they need that hot influence to like, so they will like obey kind of thing. Like, well, I read this review and then blah 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 blah. And then the ones in the cold there. Maybe they had a bad experience with you. So like they're cold over there because like they're not gonna talk bad about you, but they're not gonna buy from you either.
Right.
And they're not gonna tell someone right. But out of that bucket, those ones are the more likely to go from sucker hot to dope. I mean sucker cold to dope cold. They could transition back over.
Yeah, if you fix it, you put something out. Yeah, that makes sense. So, I've had this conversation with Darius about like working really hard, like nonstop, and then also like how the wealthiest people out there have time, right? They have enough time for their families and stuff like that. So at what point do you think that you kind of like make that transition from like you have to go really hard? Because like you said, you went really hard with the Stinky Cakes brand, and obviously like, it shouldn't be to the detriment of your health. But you went really hard with that brand, and you could say that if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be able to be where you are right now.
Yeah, so yes and no. Yes and no in the sense that business, this is like around the time, and it was the whole team no sleep thing. Like I literally wasn't sleeping, and it was because I had suppliers and it's people I work with overseas, sometimes a 12, 24-hour difference. I was just up working.
Yeah.
And I had that shift for me started when it was my wife's grandparents at the time lived in New Jersey. And we were driving up out there maybe like an hour and a half in. My kids were about 3, 4 years old because we used to have to stop to let my youngest son play. And she was like, you realize we about an hour and a half into this trip, and the whole time you're just talking about baby girl. Baby girl's what she used to call Stinky Cakes at the time. And I realized like, yeah, I'm becoming that guy. Like all I do is talk about business. So I wanted to shift that. But what really, really helped me change was, so John Sortino is the guy that I created the 100 grand plan with. That's the course I was talking about earlier. He was making, he owned the Vermont Teddy Bear Company.
Yep.
So he was doing about $50,000 a day in business, a day, right? And he was running that company in 3 hours a day.
Right. That's
right. So like I wasn't nowhere near $50,000 a day. Let's get that clear.
Yeah.
Right. And so I realized when it comes to work, there's 3 types of work. You can work hard, and everyone hears that. But then there's working smart and working right.
Yeah.
So working hard is essential. That's step 1. You work really, really hard to build a system. Like, okay, all of these things work together. Then you work smart by letting the systems work for you. So if something should take 45 minutes, you got the system in place, it's done in 10 minutes, right? If you follow the system. Working right is then bringing in the right people to work those parts of the system for you, right? So when you do that, now you just work, you spending time working on your business instead of working in your business. And then when you're working on your business, it allows you to step back and see what's working, what's not working, and then you could run a $50,000 a day business in 3 hours because you're just looking at the pieces of the system that you need to come in and tweak and make sure it's working right during your time in the office.
Yes.
But the key to making that work though is being super humble as a leader, because sometimes the system won't work. Sometimes you change it, and you have to give the space where your employees or your fellow C-suite members and people outside in your inner circle could come to you and tell you like, hey, you change and just you're becoming a jerk, or these things aren't working the way they used to work before. We need to adapt and adjust. And when you allow that to happen, and then you empower your team and you just kind of put your ego to the side, that's when you can be efficient, and that's when your company grows. Because also too, when you do that, everybody from people working in your factory, to people managing the people in the factory, to people in your C-suite, like everybody knows they can come to you and let you know what's happening in the business, and now it allows room for growth.
Yes, absolutely. And then when you're talking about like getting the right people too and listening to people, and I want to just connect it back to HR, like it's all about putting the right people in the right seats, because you could have somebody who's super skilled at something and you don't even know. And then I know we were talking about before how you were like, and you might as a manager not even realize that you're getting in their way. And there was something, I think it was Google was doing it, and they let their employees, they do this like competition, and they let their employees like develop whatever they want to develop.
In their free time,
Yeah, in their free time, right? And they like make a competition out of it, like who can come up with the best, idea.
Something like an idea party, something. They call it a real cool name too,
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I was just like, that's the type of innovation that you see in those types of companies, but you can bring that. It doesn't have to be like a tech company. You could bring that to any company and be like, like I work in the cannabis industry, and like a lot of people who come there, like the retail associates, all different levels, are like super passionate about cannabis. Like they've been growing on their own time and stuff. And I'm just, and even in my head, I'm like, well, you know, if you like let them like have a free for all one day, or everybody who grows at home, like, I don't know, it could get a little complicated.
Bring some of those
with
ideas
some regulations,
yeah.
But you know, bring your new ideas. Like, let's see who comes up with the best thing. We don't gotta make it all, but like, let's see who comes up with the best thing, the best idea, or the best like flavor idea, or something like that.
True.
You know, and then like what you were saying about being open to criticism. You know, I feel like you have to, like my boss, even when we do our evaluation, she'll let me know where I need to improve. And then she immediately will ask me, what can I do better? Like, be open, be honest. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to be respectful of the person that you're working with or working for or whatever. But, like, I think that's so important to make sure that you're constantly growing.
Yeah. No, and you know, sometimes it depends on your ego, right? And if you create an environment where the people that work with you or work for you feel free to discuss things open, not in a disrespectful way. Like even like I equate what I'm seeing here to my sons, right? So like when I give them instructions, I expect them to do it, right? But if they feel like it's a more efficient way to do it, like I tell them, like, bro, don't ever come at me when I'm telling you what to do. It's timing too. So like, give some time and say, hey, Dad, you know, you want me to take the trash out at this time, but I was thinking if we did it like this, wouldn't that be like a little more efficient?
Yeah, like come to me after the trash is out kind of thing.
Right. After it's done, or like,
we can talk about it.
Not in the heat of the moment. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because like they may not know. Like I got an agenda. We need to get this done.
Right. We can't talk about it right now.
But if that's off the table, and hey, Dad, you know how we normally do the trash on Tuesdays.
Yes.
What if we brought it out Tuesday morning? Like I could set my alarm. Here's my plan. Here's the strategy. Because then now I could give them an opportunity to try, because I can see, like, okay, they're trying to do something new.
Yes.
Right? So I could give them the opportunity to see if they're going to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to take the trash out, because whatever that thing may be. So it's the same thing, being able to give your people room to, like, because that's how, because, you might have built this system, but you're not perfect.
Right. So
something's missing somewhere, and if you don't allow your people the space to, like, express themselves, you may miss that piece that take you from $1 million to 10 million or $1 billion, just on that kind of simple tweak.
And that's absolutely true. And I feel like I've even made that mistake in just like business in general. Like I'll say, like my boss will ask me to do something, and then I'm like proposing a new idea in the moment, but I'm not reading her the right way, and it's kind of like, it's not that, like I'm kind of like, she might be in a rush.
Right.
So when you say it, it's gonna be like, okay, great, but can you just do it?
Right. It's not time to experiment.
It's not time right now.
Yeah.
But then when you as a good leader, good entrepreneur, like you said, like creating that space, like, okay, we've done all these different things. Let's sit down here and assess what we did. Let's talk about our process and like, how can we make it better? Just make it like an open conversation.
And the wild thing too, like if you came to your boss the following morning or the fall, like, yo, I was thinking about this. You know how we did? I was just thinking about this. She's like, what are you thinking about? Because now there's like no pressure at that moment.
Yes.
What if you have and sometimes you got to use like reverse psychology, make it seem like it's their idea. You ever thought about doing X, Y, Z, like 1, 2, 3? You're like, I never thought about that. It's like, yeah, well, let me show you. I've been thinking about this all night. Like, I've been literally thinking about this all night. Because now they're like, now you look like a leader.
Now it looks good. Right? Exactly. Timing is everything. Because before you were just annoying somebody, wasting time. But now it's like, oh wow, you really care about your job.
That's it. You're going. You know what I mean? So
and
like,
now you're a winner.
Everything's about timing, man, and the way you present.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I know this is our, we went over the first time, guys, so this is us fixing the podcast for y'all. But this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
Anytime.
This has been C.HR with Ariaunstewart with my great guest, Mychal Connolly. And I also want to give a shout out to the ABBP, Association of Black Business and Professionals. The board is all about getting people together, whether you're an entrepreneur, or you work in a company and just networking, connecting, and uplifting each other. So thank you guys so much for listening.